Pro-Trump author is detained by FBI, interrogated, has phone confiscated, subpoenaed to testify in Mueller special counsel, by Jim Hoff for thegatewaypundit.com. As we reported on Thursday, author, intellectual academic, and InfoWars contributor Ted Malloch was detained by the FBI this week when he arrived at Logan International Airport in Massachusetts. Ted Malloch is the author of the upcoming pro-Trump book, The Plot to Destroy Trump: How the Deep State Fabricated the Russian Dossier to Subvert the President, by Theodore Roosevelt Malloch. What a name, right? Foreword by Roger Stone. Dr. Malloch, an author, intellectual, political consultant, and InfoWars contributor, was detained by the FBI shortly after his plane arrived at Logan Field on Tuesday. According to conservative Jerome Corsi, Malloch was reportedly detained for making false statements. He was in the U.S. to give a talk and to come home for Easter. Dr. Corsi reported on Thursday that Mueller and his minions were behind Malloch's detainment. Dr. Corsi went on a tweet storm and pounded Mueller and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. I am coming on Alex Jones' InfoWars, even though sick today, at 12 Central, to pound Special Prosecutor Mueller for secret squirrel subpoena of Ted Malloch to appear before grand jury April 13th on Russia. FBI detained Ted at airport, stole his cell phone, won't return it. The Gateway Pundit reached out to Dr. Ted Malloch, and we were sent this first-hand account of his run-in with the FBI in Massachusetts. Malloch was interrogated by FBI officials. When he arrived, the FBI took his phone. Before he was released, he was subpoenaed to speak with special counsel Robert Mueller next month. Mueller has nothing on President Donald Trump, and now he is using threats, harassment, and abuse to attack Trump insiders and supporters. It's too bad the U.S. does not have an attorney general with, you-know-what, who would end this madness. Crooked cop Mueller is grasping at straws and must be stopped. Here is a statement from Ted Malloch on his detention at Boston's Logan International Airport on Tuesday, March 27, 2018. Had no idea this was unbelievable. On March 27th, 2018, I flew on a long international flight to Boston's Logan International Airport. I was to connect to a domestic flight en route to my in-laws' house just outside of Cleveland, Ohio for the Easter holidays. After exiting the plane, I was escorted to a special line for passport control. There, I was formally detained and asked to wait along with my wife, who was traveling with me. They would not say why, and I found it most curious, as I am a frequent flyer and go back and forth to the U.S. and Europe and elsewhere many times a year. I never had such treatment. After about 20 minutes left waiting, we were taken by a TSA official and an FBI agent to a separate hall where they thoroughly checked my suitcase and asked about my electronic devices, phones, or computers I had in my possession. This all seemed very foreboding, and I have never experienced anything like this before, unless you include trips to communist China or in the old world to Eastern Bloc countries as a diplomat. What's going on, I thought. When they found nothing suspicious and would not answer my questions about why they were detaining me, they separated me from my wife and told her to wait in a lounge without explanation. While I was to be interviewed, that is all they said. Naturally, This left her in a state of total confusion and near panic. What had I done? Why Ted Malik? I was then escorted to another building and into a secure conference room where two young FBI agents introduced themselves to me. They said I was being detained to answer questions regarding the Department of Justice Special Counsel probe and showed me their identification. They seemed to know everything about me and had my color, photograph, and personal details and said in intimidating ways that it was a felony to lie to the FBI. I stated that I realized that and I would readily, in fact, gladly cooperate with them. I did, however, find it objectionable to treat me the way they had as I was entering my home country when I am a citizen and have served at the highest levels of government. They did not need to use such tactics or intimidation. I was a U.S. patriot and would do anything and everything to assist the government, and I had no information that I believed was relevant. They asked for my cell phone and my laptop. I didn't have a computer on me and produced a document to seize it and perform forensics on it. I gladly signed permission and asked if at least I could keep my driver's license and credit cards. They said yes and gave them back to me. One of the agents took the phone into another room and downloaded items, but returned to say they would need to keep it and take it to Washington, D.C. for a full assessment. I asked when I could get it back. They assured me in a few days they would definitely get it to me one way or the other. The other agent then proceeded for about an hour to interrogate me and involved himself in various disarming chit-chat about my career, sterling academics, credentials, top secret code word government clearances in an earlier era, and my being a fan of the championship Philadelphia Eagles. All well and good, I presumed. What did they want? Why me? And why is this underhanded fashion? What had I done? The questions got more detailed about my involvement in the Trump campaign, which was informal and unpaid, whom I communicated with, whom I knew, and how well they had a long list of names. They seemed to then focus more attention on Roger Stone, whom I have met a grand total of 3 times, and with groups of people. Jerome Corsi, a journalist who edited a memoir I had written some years ago and about WikiLeaks, which I knew nothing. Had I ever visited the Ecuadorian embassy in London, they asked. No, I replied truthfully. Like as if they didn't know if he visited the Ecuadorian embassy ever. They would have that on his passport. I was unfazed and very dubious about why they thought I knew anything. I couldn't help but wonder, had they read a copy of my soon-to-be-released book? The timing of this interrogation, along with the nearing publication date, seemed to me to suggest, yes, they had read it. Then they served me with a subpoena, which I noticed had only been issued that very day in Boston to appear before the Mueller grand jury in Washington, D.C. that very Friday. They said I could telephone the lead attorney on the team and make necessary arrangements. They shook my hand and had agents take me to my wife, who was very alarmed and in disbelief. They then escorted us to the adjoining terminal to catch our delayed domestic flight. I called the special counsel's office the next morning, and they said it would be better to appear later, which we agreed upon be April 13th, and they would pay for my travel. I told them I had legal representation and asked that they establish contact. The deep state is sending a signal and has no doubt read this book. What could they want from me, a policy wonk and philosophical defender of Trump. I am not an operative, have no Russia contacts, and aside from appearing on air and in print often to defend and congratulate our president, have done nothing wrong. What message does this send? That's a very good question. I mean, this is very disturbing. This is very disturbing. Unbelievable. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.